some underwear, but almost there, okay?
I'm getting turned on now.
So, oh my gosh. Is it buck naked
It's
or
either.
butt naked? We say naked tail too, naked tail.
For a little kid. Oh, you're naked tail.
Naked tail, get some clothes on.
It looks very nice.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's time to wrap this up because she's giving me those eyes that say, make out with me right now.
Oh my goodness.
Hey friends, welcome to Fridays with Dave and Ashley here on the XO Marriage YouTube channel where you get real marriage advice from real people like us. Today we got two segments in the video. First one, we're gonna elaborate on a really popular Instagram post that we had on our @DaveAndAshleyWillis Instagram page, and we invite you to follow there, about how naked are you? The Naked Marriage podcast that we host, we talk about nakedness being not just physical, but not keeping secrets. Nakedness is a picture of transparency.
Right.
So we're gonna give you a little quiz to see how naked are you. And then stick around for the very end because our second segment today, the love of my life here, is going to give one smoking hot sex tip.
And he loves to put me, and for lack of a better word, in position. So you have to give a sex tip, you guys. And I just want to point out, you're looking extra sexy with your beard, you guys. This is a first.
Well, beard is a bit of a stretch. For a guy in his mid-40s, I haven't finished puberty, it feels like. I mean, I have these like whole patches of emptiness where God just didn't give me follicles, but you know what? I'm working with what I've got.
It is looking so good. Instead of my lumberjack, I call him my lumber Dave. So he's embracing his inner lumber Dave. And it is hot, and I'm here for it. All right, so let's talk about how naked are you? And again, we're talking about nakedness, not just physically, which is awesome. You know, it goes back to the very first married couple, Adam and Eve, in the garden. In Genesis 2, it says they were naked and unashamed. Why were they naked and unashamed? Because it was just the two of them and the Lord. And there was no secrets between any of them. There was nothing up their sleeve. They were naked and they weren't wearing sleeves, right? So they're not hiding anything, not just because they were naked physically, but they were naked spiritually because they had this beautiful union with God. And they were naked emotionally with each other, and they were naked mentally with each other, not keeping anything from each other. And we know that sin enters the picture, and it doesn't stay that way. The serpent tries to convince them that God is not trustworthy, that he's holding out on them, and that they need to test God and not trust him. And we know what happens. They go their own way, and they end up sinning, and we all live in that reality. But we believe that God wants us to reclaim that in marriage. And so when we talk about how naked are you, it really has to do with the level of vulnerability and honesty and openness in your relationship. And so just for fun, we're doing it from the standpoint of nakedness, like clothed or unclothed, okay? So the first level, the lowest point of nakedness is being fully clothed. So are you fully clothed? Do you want to describe that, sweetie?
Right, fully clothed in this metaphoric sense, it means like you're hiding as much as possible from each other.
Yes.
And you're fully clothed when you're hiding your feelings. Maybe you're hiding purchases you're making. You're hiding money. You're hiding your online search history. You're hiding your habits. You're doing whatever you can to just kind of build walls and barriers between each other. And this is where intimacy dies, right?
Yeah.
This is no way to live in a marriage.
And there's a lot of the roommate mentality where it's kind of everything is his and hers. Like it's all divided. I have my job, my finances, my friends. You have your job, your finances, your friends. And then maybe sometimes you have sex, but I would say there's probably not a lot of sex happening here either. And so that's kind of the fully clothed, is there's secrets, there's separate, everything's divided and separate, and not a lot of intimacy. But there's another level kind of above that, and that is...
Because that doesn't sound fun.
No, that's not fun. That's not marriage, right? No. So the level above that is shorts and a top, but that's where it stops, okay? So you're not fully clothed, you're showing some skin, so to speak, so you're maybe not keeping all the secrets, you're not completely separated, but there's not a whole lot of intimacy going on, right, sweetie?
Yes. Yeah, you're just dipping your toe in the water of intimacy.
Yes.
You're sharing just a little bit, but then you're quick to pull back. There's a lot that you're still hiding.
If your spouse picked up your phone, how would you feel?
If they picked it up and went through everything, your texts, your emails, would you be embarrassed for them to see anything? Would you feel so deeply violated? Because in marriage, it shouldn't bother you. Like, I mean, Ashley and I, we even share an Apple ID. We did it by accident. But then we kept it because it keeps us in the loop of what the other one is doing. And we don't do it because we distrust each other. We do it because we have such trust and admiration and respect for each other. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So the next level is some underwear, but almost there. Okay.
I'm getting turned on now.
So... Oh my gosh.
Is it a thong?
So, my gosh.
Maybe just a sliver of secrecy.
I mean, no, I think this is more than a thong. So you're wearing like traditional underwear.
Granny panties.
And for the ladies, you know, you have your undergarments on, okay? But you're not completely naked yet. So what does this look like, sweetie?
Well, if it's you, it looks wonderful.
You're so silly.
It looks very nice.
Oh my God.
This looks like where you're sharing almost everything, right? But there's still just a few places where you're holding back, where you feel most vulnerable. You want to keep that private. You want to keep those parts covered up. But in marriage, that's where we have to have the courage to be vulnerable and be naked with one another. So even if there's this one part of your life that you're kind of keeping off limits from your spouse, address that and be willing to remove it.
I think a good test for this, if you're in the some underwear zone, is that you find yourself thinking or saying, can I just have something of my own? That's a big test. And I know some of you watching this are like, well, that seems reasonable. And I'm not talking about like literally buying yourself something, owning it, it being yours. Nothing wrong with that. But I mean where you put your foot down because you only let yourself go so far with your spouse because you're like, I got to have something of my own.
This is off limits to them.
This is off limits.
This is mine.
All right, guys. The last one, you probably guessed it, is completely naked. In Kentucky, in Georgia, where we spent most of our life, we would say
naked,
buck naked, or butt naked.
Butt naked.
Is it buck naked?
It's both. It's
or
either.
Butt naked. I said both. Butt naked makes more sense because it's like the butt is there. Like there's a naked butt. Buck naked is how I grew up. Like saying that. I didn't grow up buck naked. Some people say in the buff. I don't know, but let us know. What do you say where you're from? We say naked tail too. Naked tail.
For a little kids. Oh, you're naked tail.
Naked tail. Get some clothes on.
I like your tail. She knows it's true.
Okay, that got awkward, but there's very much a unified mentality between both spouses.
Yeah.
And you're sharing your finances. You're sharing in all aspects of your life. Yes, you have individual things you enjoy. You're not the same person. You know, you have individuality, but you have unity within that. And there's just no limits. Like you don't put limits on what you're willing to share with your spouse.
So guys, live naked. If you want more on exactly what that looks like and what that journey to get to nakedness looks like for us, our very first book, The Naked Marriage, that kind of launched this whole Naked Marriage podcast. Check that out. Check out the audiobook or the paperback. We put a lot of our journey in there, and I think it could be helpful to you as well. All right, so next on Fridays with Dave and Ashley segment, the final segment today. I've been waiting all day to hear this because I have no idea what she's going to say. Ashley's going to give us a sex tip. I'm all ears.
Okay, I think, and this actually there's some research behind this. So my sex tip is spend more time making out. Don't put a time limit on like we got to do it in this amount of time. Spend more time making out before having sex because I think as adults, we forget this. Like we are just like, we have kids, we have jobs. It's like, okay, let's get this done. Yeah. It's Saturday night, let's do this or whatever it is, you know, like we have this lunch break, let's do this. And I get it. Like, I mean, we're limited on time too, but I think we have to allow within that time frame more foreplay, more making out, more, you know, really exploring and kissing and like holding. And like, I think we underestimate that. And the science behind it, if you haven't already listened to our episode with Shanti Feldhahn and Dr. Seitzma, amazing. Okay. And a Christian sex therapist, very well researched in this. And Shanti's so well researched in this. They did all these studies on it. And they found that a lot of people aren't even necessarily in the mood necessarily for sex until they're well into making out. And so don't just cut your spouse off and be like, well, I'm not in the mood. Be like, let's make out for a little bit.
Yeah, you might just be a few minutes away from being in the mood and really enjoying that time of connection
and
leading
having,
up to.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
My mind's just going about
so
making
silly.
out.
You were probably going to say what I was going to say, having more connection, but maybe even a more heightened experience because you have given more time to making out.
Well, I think it's time to wrap this up because she's giving me those eyes that say, make out with me right now. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also go to exomarriage.com. Check out the live events we have coming up. We would love to see you at any of our live events, meet you in person. That would be a treat. In the meantime, thanks for being part of this online community. God bless. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.